hottest podcast in the automotive industry today, East Carolina Rides.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, it's another wonderful week. We're right here in the middle of the month. And
It's go time.
That's right. Yeah.
It's go time. Let me go ahead and tell you, any time in the car business, every single day in the car business is go time.
Yeah.
But right here in the middle of the month, look, this week right here in the middle of the month, I'm not saying it's going to make your month. It won't break your month. But I'm going to tell you, if you can put a good, solid middle of the month in, okay, it may be able to help you rebound from a shortfall in the first part of the month.
Yeah.
If you're doing somewhat,
I'm in that boat.
if you're doing somewhat good, in the middle part of the month, this is the week to really expand that. So, it doesn't really matter what you did at the first part. It does in the big term, in the big thinking term, but it's time to rebound now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's you can't let what happened in the past few days or the past even couple weeks affect your mentality. That's something that important to staying strong through the end of the month and having a good finish if you didn't have a good start.
And out here we have the deals on Rams. We were talking about consistency, and I know one thing you wanted to touch on today was Stellantis, and it kind of surging in North America here.
Yeah.
And so,
Great.
one thing about it is lots are stacked, jacked, and packed right now, right?
Yeah.
So inventory is on the ground. So whenever dealers are holding a bunch of inventory, it really kind of puts customers in the catbird seat. Not to say that the dealership's not going to make money, okay, but it really puts customers in the catbird seat because we're holding all this inventory, and guess what? Now we can get as much as we want.
Yeah.
So if I sell a truck, if it's a new truck, I can replace it. So whenever you see, I want to tell you something. The deals they have on trucks, we were talking about the consistency of the programs and why the Ram sales were shooting off.
Yeah.
That was because of big dealer discounts. It was because of pretty nice size rebates, and it was because of a special interest rate. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what. The rebates that they have on them now, so like for a Longhorn or a Limited or a Tungsten, one of the top tier models, if you're a luxury truck buyer, this is the month to get it done.
Yeah.
15% rebate.
Right.
A 15% rebate. I did a deal on a Tungsten, a quote on a Tungsten for a customer that's out of town. And this is a national rebate of 15%. $23,000 off.
Wow, that's insane.
That's I could care less what kind of interest rate you're getting. You ain't saving $23,000. I can tell you that. Yeah, I mean, but $23,000 off on a Tungsten. Yeah,
Wow.
It's a $94,000 truck, but shoot, when you get that much money off, I mean, it actually gets into a Laramie range.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're a luxury truck buyer, this is it.
That's. I mean, I've been telling people that if you thought you were out of the market for that high-end truck because of the price point, as the phone tumbles to the ground.
Boom.
The thing is right now it's so close to the price of what they even were last month, and there's always going to be trade-offs. They went away from the rate thing. The rates are still actually pretty good if you go 72 months. We have competitive rates, so you can still kind of get best of both worlds because it wasn't like it was 0%.
No.
It was 2.9 and it was 4.9 for 84, 2.9 for 72. So when you consider, especially for people that trade frequently, I think we talked about this last week, but if you trade frequently, man, now is the time. Even if you trade every 2 or 3 years, the rebate will help it be a more equitable situation when they go into trade. Say that 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty's coming up, and people start to get it in their mind. Hey, look, it's time to go trade. Well, you're going to be in a pretty good position with the kind of rebates that are going on right now.
No doubt. Look, one of our best customers, and you know who I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But anyway, one of our best customers, and my friend George Goldberg. Sorry, George, I'm putting your stuff out there. But he is a friend and a great customer to our dealership. We were working on a truck deal for him while the old programs were on.
Yeah.
And then they came out and gave us a little sneak peek of what was going to happen on July 7th. Mm-hmm. Well, I was like looking at the deals and I said, George, you'll want to get the rebate that's on.
Yeah.
It was like $11,000 in rebate on that truck. It was crazy.
It's wild.
And plus the Goldberg discount, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
Everything's a Goldberg package. This, that, the other. Look, the guys, George, we love you, and the guys bought a ton of vehicles from me, and but that rebate kind of swung the balance over to him actually going, because remember, he was looking at a Warlock, which we call a baby Rebel.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a Rebel looking truck beefed up with a little 1-inch suspension lift, and
it's a great package if you don't necessarily need all the frills.
Yeah. But it doesn't have as much equipment.
Yeah.
And he was like, it just doesn't have enough equipment, but it's the price point I want to be at. Well, George was able to go up to the Rebel because of the rebate.
Right.
The big rebate.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easily. We were trading him for like $19,000 on a Warlock, and now we're trading him for like $22,000 on a Rebel. Only $3,000.
That's incredible.
More, compared to the last program.
I've seen the truck too. It ain't no basic Rebel either. No. It's that's awesome. And for people that have gotten used to the certain comforts in their truck, because I'll be one to admit it. Truck prices are higher than what they were 3 or 4 years ago. Everybody knows it. It's not like it's a secret.
Yeah. Nobody's hiding nothing.
Yeah, but with the rebate that's going on now, you can kind of count it as being pretty close to the truck prices. I won't say pre-COVID, but that was a whole different ball game back then. But it's getting pretty close. For the same kind of equipment, and not even counting all the standard equipment now that comes on trucks, because you can't buy a light-duty truck without LED headlamps, without blind spot monitoring, without the lane keep assist, without the forward collision warning, all the safety things that maybe not everybody knew they cared about until they had them. But look, I want to see at night.
Most of that stuff,
LEDs.
Most of the safety stuff now is standard on this. So you look back 5 years ago, or even 6 years ago, somewhere in that range, like you're talking about, pre-COVID, right before pre-COVID, or right when COVID was hitting, a lot of these features and stuff were charging. The factory for the technology was charging, $15.95 and stuff like that for the pack for the equipment that's now standard to keep you and your family safe. So
you used to have to get it limited to get adaptive cruise. I mean, and now it's it's pretty much on everything. So I mean, when you consider all the things you get in a truck, and that they're at a great deal. I mean, if you're in the market for the truck right now, is just a golden opportunity. And I think we have been saying that for the last 3 months, but Ram has stepped it up, and that's why their numbers are better.
I didn't expect them to come out with something better, especially on the high-end trucks.
Right.
If you're looking at a tradesman, a work truck, or maybe a Bighorn, I think the two things parallel. Your special rate versus but the special rate's only going to pay for itself if you continue the loan over the course of the 72 months or the 84 months. That was the only way that the rate would pay off for you, right? So if like you said, if you're a frequent trader and everything, you definitely want to take the more rebate pattern, because you want to take more money off now rather than, because the savings of the interest rate, if you're going to trade in 2.5 years, what good is a 2.9% rate for 72 months when you're really thinking the term you need it for?
Yeah, you're only taking advantage of the half of that money that you're saving, really, if you're going to trade in 3 years. So, it's exciting. I'm glad to see that Stellantis has not only listened to the consumers with bringing back the things that they're bringing back, like the Hemi with no e-torque, the ICE, powered vehicles. We've got the TRX. They have the Durango Hellcat. I mean, there's a lot of exciting vehicles. But even something like the Hemi and the Durango now is more accessible for folks. Because for a little while there was like a gap. There was people that, they said, well, I got to have a V8 or I got to have a V6. And even now, like with Grand Cherokees, people are like, I don't know about this new engine. Well, look, you got the Durango as a very viable option and at a great price point with a ton of features. And
the GT Plus to me, the GT Plus with the V6, the tried and true Pentastar, that is a fantastic value. That vehicle lists for right under 40, right under 50. But the GT Plus with the V6 engine is such a great value because of all the equipment that you get.
Yeah.
Really, if you take a look at a GT Plus, you're kind of getting like a limited altitude type interior for the Grand Cherokee,
right,
comparatively. And once you're up to a limited reserve, not limited altitude but limited reserve, once you're up to that package, really you're just about up to a Summit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thankfully, that is another thing. I think they were looking out for salespeople this time around with the Grand Cherokee cycle and all these different trim levels, because last year for 2025, I think I read that it was like 128 configurations that they had, and now
there's a ton of them. Believe me, I ordered the vehicles.
It's confusing.
This is a lot easier.
Yeah, it's been narrowed down to something like 28, which is great for my brain. I like to try to think I can remember all that stuff, but you get lost in these packages sometimes. You get the convenience group, comfort group, the Luxury Tech 2 and the Luxury Tech 4. It's like, man, eventually it all starts to bleed together, and we've sold them long enough now where we got them pretty much memorized.
So look, we had a instance yesterday where I'm trying to find an option on a vehicle for over an hour.
Right.
Yeah. We have a customer that wants on the blind spot cameras. Whenever you cut on your blinker and you want to do a lane change, or if you want to turn right, he wants it to show up on his screen.
The camera to pop up.
The camera to pop up on his screen. And, trying to find that on a vehicle. Well, first of all, trying to find it on a vehicle when it doesn't exist on the vehicle is impossible. Which it took me an hour to figure out.
Yeah. Well, I started digging into. I heard you talking about it, and I was like, man, they got it in this model, but not in this model. And we're both in that way.
Yeah, I like myself and am very prideful of knowing my equipment. You're right. So I'm not going to stop until I actually find out an answer one way or the other. Or once I find out an answer, even if it doesn't have it, I'm happy because I found out the answer. I've got that product knowledge tucked away in the filing cabinet in my brain.
That's right.
And now I can move on.
And got some closure, some internal closure going on. I've developed that same nature, and it's I think some of the guys miss because I'm not going to say that people don't care, but it's just a different mindset. We are very technically oriented. We were talking about this last week, how you kind of had that role of knowing the technical information, and I feel like if I don't know something, I can find out. And like you say, if you at least find out that it isn't possible, then you still know something.
Yeah. It doesn't come on the Grand Cherokee.
That's right.
I found that out.
Yep.
So.
Maybe in a future update, but I think the reason, and this is just maybe me making an excuse for the manufacturer not putting that in, but that the Wagoneer and the trucks that have it are so large, they're wider vehicles, that they have that feature in order, because you're going to be towing bigger things, you're going to be, trying to look around the length of the vehicle, which is almost a foot or longer, depending on if you go with the L, or a heavy duty truck. So that's my excuse for Stellantis.
Well, now the next thing I want to do is I want to see if there's any more vehicles besides the upper tier Ram, like 2500s, and the upper tier Grand Wagoneers. I want to see if there's any. Now my next quest is to see what other vehicles does that feature in.
Right.
So I've got a little side quest. I'm not going to pay attention to it today or anything. Maybe 20 minutes.
Get a little downtime. You can click into the VOIM and narrow down. There's certain little tricks to the trade. If you're a part of Stellantis and if you're a salesperson, there are tools in Dealer Connect. This is getting maybe too deep into what consumers need to know. But anyways, if you're a salesperson, this is a very important thing to learn if you want to be on the top of your game for product knowledge. And you can click and you just play around with it. Eventually, you start to figure things out. You've taught me a bunch of things just hovering over.
Well, I try to tell the guys, if you're using Dealer Connect, and that's our factory website that we can view our inventory and everything. But I tell them what to do, and I show them what to do, and I say, look, if you have a customer, and this is very, very good for a customer and a telephone call, or if you need to find out an answer real quick. Let's say like a customer just pops up at your desk. Your desk is right at the front door. Sometimes a customer will get to the front door without a salesperson being out there. They'll just pop up at your desk.
Right.
It happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
So if a customer pops up in your desk and says, yeah, I'm looking for a Ram 1500 Laramie, and I want a blue one with a panoramic moonroof. There's tools in Dealer Connect. Instead of going on the website or walking out on the lot, there's tools in Dealer Connect that'll go ahead and tell you if we have one or not. You can punch in Laramie, you can punch in the option, the moonroof, the panoramic moonroof. It'll tell you, and you can tell the customer right then and there.
Great summertime tip, because I can tell you, walking around in that heat, as opposed to just clicking 4 or 5 times and finding the exact stock number or VIN number, it'll save you an extra bottle or two of water you got to drink that day.
Yeah, just don't use it if a customer doesn't. Don't use that technology if a customer doesn't know what they want.
Right.
There's no replacement from walking on the lot.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 110 degrees.
Sure. Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah.
So walking the lot and everything, and finding that truck for the customer. If there's a lot of gray area in there for the customer, and they haven't quite figured it out for themselves, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
But there's no substitute for actually going out there on the lot. But when a customer is extremely specific, like I want a blue truck, a Laramie trim model with a moonroof, with a 3.0 Hurricane engine, because I want the better fuel economy. If you have all that, that customer is very specific.
Yeah.
That's the time to use Dealer Connect. Go ahead and drill into that and have an answer for your customer just like that.
Yeah.
And guess what? Your customer appreciates saving them time.
Yeah, and I mean that also will burrow itself into your brain. If you ever have somebody else ask a question, hey, do you have this? Do you have that? It's just a part of knowing your inventory, which is really key, and something that our used car manager Ed Small he says all the time.
Yeah.
It is what makes you a great salesperson, is knowing your inventory. Well, one key aspect, anyways, of making you a great salesperson.
And I touched on that in the sales meeting yesterday with everybody. We touched on a couple of things, namely, know where your fresh trade-ins are, how to know what vehicles are your fresh trade-ins. And so that's so key. What if you get a customer, because as soon as our finance office puts the sale of the vehicle in a booked status as far as our computer systems go, what happens is that trade-in automatically then gets posted online. It may take about 24 hours.
Right.
But that's still a shorter time once the vehicle posts online than we have to get the vehicle ready for resale.
Right.
So there's probably going to be about, I would like to say only 4 or 5 days, but there's realistically it's probably going to be somewhere right about 6 to 10 days that vehicle might not be on the lot, that it's going to be showing up online.
Yeah, especially if we've got to order a part, or we're waiting for tires, or they're backed up.
It is so key to know what's going on with every car that we've traded for within the last 10 days.
Yeah.
And look, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long at all. First thing, walk out here, take a look at the car, get a visual for yourself.
Yeah.
That's the very first thing, get a visual for yourself. Because when you're selling, you have to understand how you feel about something. Okay? And that's just anything. It doesn't matter what you're selling. Yeah. And once you get a visual for it, then you'll be able to make your first impression and go from there. So you got to do that.
Yeah. And I mean, when you go out and you look at it too, I mean, you can peek in the window. You ain't even got to have the key just to see if it might be something that
you ain't gotta have the key.
Is worth taking a look at. If a customer says, hey, I saw that you got this vehicle and I don't see any pictures, can we go take a look at it? And you might have to kind of stall a little bit. I hate to, put it out there so plainly, but some of these cars get traded in, and they need some TLC. I mean, the inside of them is either filthy or they got, that it's not going to be standing tall. And as a salesperson, you might have to just delay them looking at it unless they're just adamant. I mean, I'm not going to stop a customer, but sometimes it's worth waiting. But you'll know that if you go out there and look at it, and because look, there may be a safety issue with it. It may be something we're going to wholesale, but until you go out there and you look and you ask questions and you find out more, especially with something that's a hot trade like a truck with four-wheel drive, crew cab with 50,000 miles on it, or a Jeep Wrangler that's got eyes, that's got a lift and wheels and all those things that will catch people's eye. And they'll see it driving through our parking lot because it's over in the front of our used car building, so it's going to get attention. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't know, then do you look as professional as if you did? That would be my question to somebody that doesn't go out there and check their inventory. It's just an extra layer of professionalism knowing it before it comes out.
I think we say it enough here at this dealership. Mm-hmm. I think realistically, and I can't put a real good figure on it, but I really think 70 to 75% of our sales staff take it seriously to kind of know what's going on as far as where our inventory is and everything. I'm not saying everybody does it, but I'm saying well over half does do it because we mention it as part of our culture that we want to know where our inventory is. But so important.
It was key, and the trade-ins. I was going to mention this. I was thinking about this while I was eating breakfast and making my coffee.
Do tell.
I love car culture, and part of what makes the car business exciting for consumers and myself alike is the ability to go out there. I was just talking about the Wrangler that has eyes, with lift and wheels and stuff like that. So a lot of our brand has that customization aspect, where people have a canvas to paint on. So, you can buy a Jeep Wrangler that's a base model, put some different wheels on it, put a lift, some light bars, and suddenly it looks like $1 million. The only caveat that I was thinking about this because my cousins, shout out to all the Pilgrims out there, they used to run a car show around here, but they're car guys. I grew up with that kind of around me. They were all older than me, but they ran a car show that basically it was all aftermarket type upgrades, paint jobs. They would chop down cars, make them really low.
Cool.
They had the hydraulics and stuff like that. This is back in the 90s and 2000s, which nowadays I don't think hydraulics is quite as popular where the cars are doing a little bounce, but that was a part of their world. They made it their entire lifestyle. And so nowadays you don't see it as much. The Fast and Furious days have kind of come and gone. I think people still, embrace the car culture, especially with our brand. Mm-hmm. But the little note I was going to make about this is that do it for yourself. So if you're going to do those upgrades, don't expect that you're going to get that money back.
I see where you're going with this, yeah.
So for people that are trading them in, we deal with this to a degree, because like we trade people, and we actually would prefer 95% of the time to have the stock rims on a Dodge Charger, for instance. We don't necessarily want to marry our customer into what your style was, but that's part of the fun of the cars. So that's the only thing I'm putting it out there as a consumer tip to just know that that's what you're going to be doing. You can spend $5,000.
It's for yourself and yourself only.
Right.
Don't expect to get anything more out of it.
Yeah.
Because let me. So the perfect example is I appraised a car. It was a Honda, and it was a nice young lady. Mm-hmm. And we appraised the car, and she had all the little black trim pieces, or like around the air conditioner vents.
Oh yeah.
And everything, but she, I guess, bought a pack of pink inserts.
Yeah.
So she pried out the black ones, and she inserted the pink ones.
I see.
And it was all throughout the interior of the car.
Yeah.
So when I look at that, it's not that I don't. I'm sure she loved the pink inserts in the car.
Yeah.
Now, when I look at that, I have to look at that as, okay, well, I'm at least at a bare minimum taking out 50% of the people that's going to be able to look at this car, right?
Pink's not everybody's color.
Well, it's, I'm going to say 50. Would that be a good percentage? I don't know. I think it's probably a little low.
Right.
But let's just say it's 50.
Yeah.
I could care less if it's 30. If I'm taking 30% of my customers away from looking at a vehicle because it's got pink inserts, that's not a good thing.
Right. Right.
So now I've got to go in and I've got to go spend money to go get black inserts to put them back in there because I want 100% of the people looking at this car positively, right?
Yeah.
So
marketability.
In some things, if you upgrade a vehicle, you may not get anything back from it, and sometimes you may actually get docked a couple $100.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I did in this particular case because I knew that in order the car had low enough miles, we'd probably want to retail it.
Right.
I knew we're going to have to go buy some more black trim pieces to go ahead and pop those pink ones out and put the black ones in. It's just what you look at. Now, on the flip side, there are rare occasions, like when a customer buys a lift and wheels and tires and stuff, and we customize the truck here in our shop, okay, and everything's done here. Now you're playing with a little bit of extra factory warranty.
Right.
If somebody takes something off and gets something done in the aftermarket place, normally they're going to have what? 1 year?
Right.
1 year warranty
with
on
where
it.
they did it.
Yeah, 1 year warranty or 12,000 miles. They'll document the miles, they'll document the time, and the warranty's good at the place that they did it.
Yeah.
If vehicle is upfitted here at the Chrysler Dodge Jeep store, then you've got if it's done at the time of sale, you actually got a 3 year, 36,000 mile warranty on the parts and everything like that. If something that goes wrong or something breaks that we performed here in the shop. So if a couple of years passes by, something goes on and your truck loses a spring on your lift kit, guess what? It's covered.
Yeah.
It's covered for you if it's done here, even if it's 2 years later.
And ideally, being a Mopar warranty, if you happen to leave, you probably are covered at any.
On those, I do a little bit of an ad, okay, because I've got more to add for, and I've got a story for the now pre-owned truck that with the lift kit, wheels and tires that we did right here at the dealership with the paperwork showing that we did the work.
Right.
So I will go a little bit more in that aspect.
Yeah.
So
documentation makes a difference, especially if you have to go out of town and take care of that warranty. But if they see Mopar and done at a Chrysler Dodge Jeep store and there's all that going along with it, then if something were to go awry, having that coverage that you couldn't get it just going to that one place is also a nice peace of mind, But yeah, I mean that's something that I know we don't do it a lot here. Our sister store, not to pump them up too much, but they have their little off-road division that they do. I call it little, but they do a good job.
Yeah, they do a good job with that.
The off-road stuff that they do is a pretty nice little segment that we've dived into over the years. But you're basically you're taking money that a customer may not want to spend on a specific truck, and so it's a little bit of a risk involved, because you're spending money on a truck that hasn't sold yet.
In 2025, I did that right here in the shop. I think it was about an $8,000 or $9,000 upgrade package. We did right here in the shop. Carlton Skinner, service manager, is fantastic. He is fantastic.
Very knowledgeable.
Yes, at kind of getting the right suspension paired up, the right lift paired up, right tire and wheel set up. He's really good at putting quality behind that work and making a nice looking truck.
Yeah.
I did that back in 2025. Sometimes I like to have a lifted up truck that's beefed up out there on the lot, just one, so customers can see what they can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me go ahead and tell you, that truck's going to sell. Mm-hmm. Okay, that truck's going to sell. Sometimes it sells fast, sometimes it doesn't sell fast. Guess what? Either way is good. If it sells fast, great. If it doesn't sell fast, customers get to see what they can do, and sometimes we can build off of that. And
that's a good point. I didn't even think about that aspect of it, but it gives the dealership as a whole an opportunity. Because I mean, look, we've got to keep the lights on. The sales department is a big majority of what brings money into the dealership as a whole, but the service department is a huge facet of the profitability. And if they have more potential customers, it's why, like, if I have somebody I'm selling a car to, if I want them to have the best service and to make sure that they are being treated right, and also getting work done somewhere where people know what they're doing, I tell them to come here. Because look, especially if you got a Chrysler Dodge Jeep product, it goes a long way to have that record showing in your Carfax history where your work is done at the dealership. When somebody sees that, they're not worried that things aren't getting taken care of, that things are just getting swept under the rug. So having it done at the dealership, it may be a little more expensive than Joe Schmo down the road, but you know it pays off in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know something I just thought about?
What's that?
By the time this airs, our America 250 test drive sales event will be over.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, we're right toward the tail end of it. We've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 more days to go. Mm-hmm. But, you know, no need mentioning it because by the time this airs and everything, it'll be on the last day. Yeah. Well, I guess I can mention it.
Yeah.
Go get yourself a vehicle from East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep today, which is Friday, and get yourself a $250 gas card on the last day. I guess I did that.
Man, it was such a great event. So many happy customers, people that, you know, just...
They were coming in
specifically for that. They were coming in like, "Hey, look, I want a gas card."
Yeah, this is most fantastic promotion we've ran. I'm going to say, so this was organic. This wasn't anything this wasn't some mailer package that we paid thousands of dollars for.
Right.
This isn't some gypsy crew that we hired to tape up the lot and come over here and try to take it over. With, you know, this was organic. It was something that was thought about, discussed, rethought, discussed, kind of put the pen to paper on, you know, how many of these $250 gas cards we're going to sell. You know, we kind of set a goal of how many new cars we wanted to sell. And we said, okay, in this time frame and everything, what are we expecting to do? And guess what? We're right on target. Mm-hmm. You always set your goal high. Remember, folks, always set your goal high.
Absolutely.
But we're right on target. We just need a few more to hit it, and awesome. Whatnot. But like I said, by the time this airs, they'll be in the last day of the event. So it's been a fantastic, organic. A lot of folks comment on it and all that. But yes, what you said about folks coming in for that is amazing. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, and look, there's plenty of reasons to come after that date. We got great deals going on.
The deals continue. You just don't get the gas card.
Yeah.
The great deals are going to continue.
Yeah, we're going to find even more ways to save you money than you expect. I can go ahead and tell you. But I think we're right at our closing point. We got to scoot over to George's meeting. Good old
George
Tuesday
has been
meeting.
out for the past few days. He should be well rested.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's been out since he worked on Thursday, so the day's Tuesday. Well, he's had a nice long weekend. Yeah. He should be right ready to go.
This is going to be an exciting meeting.
Typing in caps, baby.
Yes, sir. Well, look, another great week here at East Carolina Rides. Y'all make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us. And we look forward to seeing y'all in the near future with more exciting stuff. I'm going to show Brian a little nugget that I brought. We're hoping to hit live soon, so y'all stay tuned and make sure that.
I can't wait for that because, you know, once we go live and everything, folks will actually be able to interact and throw a question out at us and stuff like that. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be exciting.
Yep. Keep your eyes
We're
out.
almost there.
That's right.
Subscribe. Subscribe.
And
Put
thank
in
you
a comment.
so much for your support. Your
Yeah.
comment, I loved it. We have so much support in our little community, and we're growing.
I got a text message. I got a text message from a buddy. He said, "Man, I watched that podcast. Man, that thing was pretty funny."
Nice.
And I was like, "Good, man. I'm glad." And then I was like, "Did you go subscribe?"
Right. Yeah. We are pushing it a little bit. So
Well, yeah. And he goes, "No, I will. I'll go subscribe." I don't know if he did or not. But
yeah. Well, anybody that just watches, we appreciate it.
Really, I mean, and the comment, really, whenever he said I thought it was funny and everything, the comment, the subscription is one thing, and that's just to get us pushed up a level. But
Yeah.
but the comment and everything, I really take to heart.
Yeah.
I really do. And
Yeah, in-person comment compared to the little thing down there, yeah, that's gold right there. I love it. I've had customers tell me too, and it makes me feel like we're accomplishing a mission here. So,
little knowledge.
yep. But thanks so much for watching, y'all. We're going to be back next week. More exciting stuff.
Yes, I.
East Carolina Rides.
East Carolina Rides.
See y'all.